I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Planning Commission City of Southfield regular meeting for July 22nd, 2020. Continue with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a roll call, please.
Yep, thank you, sir. Mr. Culpepper, I don't see on. I'll just do one more look at my participant list, and I don't see him here this evening. Dr. Denson. Dr. Denson? Dr. Denson?
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Griffith?
I'm here.
Mr. Huntington? Mr. Martin?
Present.
Ms. Mia?
Present.
Mr. Willis? Mr. Willis? All right, thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum to conduct business this evening.
I'm sorry. I am on a
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have a motion on the agenda.
I get it tomorrow.
To the chair.
If I may, we have some background noise. Other than those who are speaking at this time, if we could please mute our microphones, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
To the chair, Commissioner Martin.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that the agenda for the July 22nd, 2020 regular meeting of the Southfield Planning Commission be approved.
This is Commissioner Willis, support.
Got a motion by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner Willis. We'll have a roll call on that, please, Jeff.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Denson?
Yes.
Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Huntington? I'm sorry, Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Mia?
Yes.
Mr. Willis?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Your agenda is approved for this evening.
Okay, I was on the phone with Commissioner Culpepper trying to get him logged into this event, as I was missing for the first few seconds there. Seems like he has not yet connected. I don't know if you can resend him the invitation to his email. I tried to forward him my invitation.
I'll see what I can do on my side here. A little difficult to do when I'm actually hosting the meeting as well.
Jeff, this is Terry. I'll try to send him the
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that, sir.
Okay. Are there any other announcements or communications?
Nothing at this time.
All right. Public hearings.
So we have no public hearings this evening. We just have one site plan.
Beautiful. All right. The first site plan is PSP 20-0007.
All right. Thank you. So this is PSP 20-0007. The petitioner is Dems Development on behalf of the owner, Losser Holdings, LLC. Property located 26555 Northwestern Highway, southwest corner of Northwestern Highway and Losser Road. The proposal is for exterior facade changes to the existing building, including changing out existing windows, the redevelopment of the truck well shipping receiving area, as well as some changes to barrier-free space location in a land-banked 211-car parking lot. So a little closer view of the property itself. Current zoning is ERO, Education Research Office. And then this is an existing condition of the building. This was taken from the Northwestern Highway area, so we're looking south. This is the proposed site plan, kind of in whole, that's the entire property. And then these are the individual areas. So this is the truck well and the ADA spaces, which would be on the west side of the property. We're on the south side of the existing building. So they are looking at making some changes to the barrier-free, just to allow proper ramps, proper access. And then they are widening out the truck well and then actually adding an overhead door, well, where it notes a proposed concrete slab. They are also making some amendments to the ADA spaces that are already in the parking lot area. They are adding a new sidewalk in the existing landscape space in order to provide for better access and accessibility for those who might be in wheelchairs. It does include the proper access aisle to get those across the driveway and then to the main entry of the building. They are also proposing a 211-car land bank parking area. This is going to remain as landscape area for the time being. Currently, the parking required for the entire project, 1,142 parking spaces. They currently have 936 on site, and at the moment they really don't need the additional 211 spaces. So they would like to put those just in a land bank for the time being. They're showing it on the plan to show that they can actually get the proper number of spaces on site should they need them in the future. With the 211 car land bank parking, that brings them up to 1,147 parking spaces on site, which is 5 more than what they need based upon our calculations. Exterior rendering, this is what the proposal is meant to look like. And this again is looking south from the Northwestern Highway area. Interior renovations as well. And then the exterior material finishes from tile to concrete stain, the gray insulated replacement glass, black spandrel as well. So they are looking to a complete upgrade to the existing building. And then with that, I would like to at least introduce those representing Morelli for this evening's presentations. I do note we have Ryan Dems, Glenn Jones, and Tracy Sweeney online for that presentation. So if you guys would like to give an introduction and some additional comments, we'd appreciate that this evening.
Okay. And before you do that, this is Planner Crowd through the chair. I just want to, for the record, recognize that Commissioner Huntington is now online with us. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so this is Ryan Dems. We are just, we've made the presentation, I think, several times within the city. We're just real excited about this project and the company that we're building it for. We think it looks great. I know there's some question about the changing of the exterior, but as you can see from the rendering, it's come out great, and we were able to save it and keep it. And we're basically here, I guess, to answer any more questions that you guys have. I think we've made the presentation. We can go through it again, but Jeff, you did a great job presenting it, and we'll answer any questions that you guys have.
In one of your previous presentations, the architect was speaking and just going through a little bit of the design of the exterior of the building and why it's changing or how it's changing. If you could have a summary of that, I think would be helpful.
Go ahead. Well, let me do the big picture, Tracy, and then you can get into some of the architectural. The company that's going to be moving into this building is Morelli, and they're a tier one. I don't know how much you know about the company, but they're a very large tier one supplier that's all over the world. They've spent a lot of time coming up with looks for their facilities throughout the world. and we were able to achieve their look with this building by making what we consider some, moderate changes to the building. So that's where it started. And Tracy can get into a little bit of the architectural and why and how we're doing it. But for the most part, this is the building. It gives it a new look for Morelli. We talked about last week, we talked about the last time we were in front of the commission that, this building is known as the Federal Mobile Headquarters, and it's always been known as that. And now it's going to be the Morelli North American Headquarters. So this change is going to help identify the building as the new Morelli headquarters, and and drop the Federal Mogul, being known as the Federal Mogul. So that's really where this change came from. And if you want to know a little bit more about the architectural and how we're doing it, Tracy can maybe speak to that.
I'll cover just a couple of the high points that we brought up at the last session. I think Ryan introduced one of the driving factors for architectural changes. So we were really trying to balance a couple of factors. As Ryan pointed out, the building's been here for a long time, and a lot of investment into the building was placed by Federal Mogul to make the original mid-century modern articulation sort of a signpost for Federal Mogul and something that everyone really recognizes. Anyone that's been around the area for a long time, when they look at that building, they think Federal Mogul. And Ryan's point is a good one. Morelli is a newly merged entity of two major companies. Together they have a 100-year history, but together as one unified company, it's a brand new thing. And so they're in the process of developing what that identity wants to be. So moving into a facility like this, they're looking at the opportunity not just to be here for a year or two and move on, but to really take the building and shape it in a way that puts their stamp on the building for a long-term lease. We're talking 15 years here. And in that aspect, they're looking at the fact that the current expression of the building says Federal Mogul to everybody. They want the new expression of the building to say that it is a Morelli facility. And so what we were... Sorry, I'm getting a bit of feedback. That's a little better. Okay, so along with that, that does mean that there is one key element of the facade that you'll notice has been removed in this, and that is the mid-century modern grille work that really was the piece that held that identity. But we've put a lot of effort into respecting other parts of the building. So as was mentioned earlier, we're looking at a full glass replacement that enlivens the facade. Most importantly, when you looked at the photo of the existing building and you look at the photo that's on the screen now,
Excuse me, can we just take a pause for a second? Somebody has their computer or their cable on in the background. We're losing your presentation, and I think it's important to hear your presentation. So again, if we could remind everyone to be on mute, turn your computer audio down and your cable while we have our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It makes it a lot easier for me. So when we look on the right-hand side of the image that is on the screen, the first floor level that's illuminated there, that you see the outdoor cafe space. If you look at the existing building, the glass that's at the outside of that is currently a reflective glass. That's not the original location of the glass. In fact, when the building was built, the enclosure was much farther in, and the two upper floors appeared to float above the rest. It was a big part of the expression of the building. One of the things that Morelli and Dems has committed to is going in and putting that glass level in as clear glass, so that you'll be able not only to see inside and see the cafe functions that are going on in the life of the building, but also by making that glass clear, we have the ability to sort of reinstate some of that feeling of the upper floors floating. So it's a respectful gesture to the original architecture. At the same time, you're seeing a bit of a change with the grille work removed above and the opportunity for Morelli to put their stamp on the building. So as much as we could, we tried to do a careful balance of elements that would help to respect some of the original architecture and at the same time help Morelli to bring their new brand to the site because they're excited about being able to invest in Southfield for the next 15 years, just as Federal Mogul did for all of the years that they called this their home and their headquarters site.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on the ownership side of the presentation? Well,
I think that's it for now. We'll just, we're here for questions, I guess.
all right. I'll open this up to the commission. Any questions or comments?
To the chair, Commissioner Martin.
Go ahead.
Currently, there's a marquee on the corner of Rosser and Northwestern. Do you plan on using that to put the Morelli sign in there once you determine the marking for it?
You know what? We haven't 100% decided. You're talking about the monument sign that sits on the corner?
Correct.
You know what? We're not there yet. We haven't finished up all the signage, so we don't know exactly. I would say it's a possibility, but until we haven't really gotten to that point yet.
So you don't know if that monument will stay there or not?
Correct.
Thank you. To the chair, Commissioner Martin again. I think the building is wonderful. I like the look of it, the work that's going on. See, there's still taking a lot of time and attention to what's going on at the location. And I think it'll be a good asset for the city of Southfield. And I think Morelli will like it too. Do you have any idea how many employees you plan on having in the building when completed?
Morelli, I think day one is planning on about 500 and growing from there.
Thank you. The 500 employees that you're speaking of, I assume most of those are currently Morelli employees from other locations?
I would say a majority are, and I'm sure there'll be some new hires. This building will be, they're consolidating into this building from different facilities. So I'd say the majority will be current employees, but I know that there'll be some new hires as well.
I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other comments from the commission? I'll go ahead. I think it's obviously a very large, exciting project. It's always, I think, a great thing when businesses are consolidating into the central location here. There's definitely a trend up and down Northwestern Highway with some very big companies moving here in the last few years. So I'm glad that is continuing. I'm glad to see this building reused and reimagined. A little bit sad to see the mid-century elements go. I guess I just associate it with mid-century modern, not necessarily Federal Mogul directly, but I do understand when there's such a significant investment going into this building that the company wants to make their statement, and I think this is a great statement. As if this was any other more plain building or less recognizable building, this would obviously be a great improvement to the exterior. So I think it's a very, very well done project. I'm excited to see this move forward.
Yeah, Mr. Griffiths, if I may, through the chair, what you might want to do is maybe call each commissioner individually, so we kind of get rid of that kind of talking over each other since we can't really see each other. So I don't know if you want to do that and then call on Dr. Denson next to see if she has any comments.
Okay. Dr. Denson, do you have any comments?
Design of the building.
I missed the first part of your sentence there, I think, or most of your sentence.
I said I don't have any comments. I like the design of the building, and welcome to Southfield.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Huntington?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Huntington, if you can do us a favor and turn down either your computer, we're getting a ton of feedback. So if you could do that, please, sir, then I will unmute you.
Okay,
That's not true.
Were you able to turn it down, sir?
yeah, it's all the way off. Turn it as muted.
Okay, then you can go ahead then.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I just want to say it's a really nice asset for the school.
Good.
I just want to say I think it is a great asset for the city of Southfield, and I'm looking forward to it. Not sure why I have such an echo here, but I think it's a great project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Willis?
Thank you. I'm not sure if I have much to add. I too think it's a great project. We welcome him on the corner of Lawson and Northwestern, and I look forward to seeing the traffic there. What nearly perfect project. It answers all of our questions. So welcome, neighbors.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Martin, you spoke earlier. Anything additional?
Sorry. I'd like to thank them for doing the wonderful job they're doing in Southfield. I mean, doing the building on the corner of Northwestern and Civic Center, and now Morelli building here. I thank you. You got any more buildings planned for Southfield? We'd love them.
I hope so. I hope these are the first two of many.
We would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Can we have the planner's recommendation?
Yeah, if I may just for a moment, sir, I do have one other person as an attendee. And I'm trying to unmute them. The telephone number is a 313 telephone number. Was there someone additional who would like to speak?
I think it was. What about Mia? She was on the phone.
Yes, I'm still here. I was waiting.
Okay, we're waiting for you then, ma'am.
Okay, I think it's a beautiful rendering. Very, very nice. It'll add it'll be a great addition to the city of Southfield. Aesthetically pleasing. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Through the chair, this is Planner Crode. I'd like to make a couple comments before Mr. Spence reads his recommendation, but I want to make sure the Planning Commission's all done.
To the chair, did Commissioner Culpepper get into the conversation?
If I may, he was not able to for whatever reason. He and I have been having a text message go back and forth, but he does apologize. He was just not able to get into the meeting this evening.
Okay. Sarah, you had some comments?
Yeah. I wasn't able to participate in the study session. I too echo the chair's comment that I'm disappointed that the mid-century modern architecture couldn't be preserved or worked into the scheme. But that being said, I thought that I'd like to offer a way to pay homage to the former mid-century modern building. And Mr. Spence and I have done some homework with regards to the investment, which will trigger an art requirement. At a minimum, I'd like DEMS to consider putting an interpretive panel that shows the former architecture and gives a little bit of a description to that. That could qualify as an art requirement. And I believe, Mr. Griffiths, you also suggested that possibly one of the honeycomb pieces that is being removed could be also incorporated into an art installation. So I'd like to offer that as a way to still pay some tribute to the former building, and also recognize Morelli's need to have their own identity. So that's my comment, and I know the art requirement will be one of the conditions of approval, and we can work with the applicant prior to going to council on what that looks like and what the value is. But I did want to go on the record by saying that. Thank you.
Okay. So Terry, this is Ryan Dems. So I've discussed it with the mayor a couple times, and we're happy to cooperate with art, whether it's a panel or and I even told the mayor we'll come up with something creative and cool to preserve the mid-modern, or and maybe even more. So we're definitely up for that. And I think to decide what it exactly is right now would be tough, but we'd be very cooperative and very interested in providing art that will not only remind everybody of the mid-modern, but to maybe even I don't know. We're in, and we do it, no problem.
Okay, so it is a condition in our recommendation. We don't have to work out the details today. If we have a little better understanding of what that might be before council, even better. But it will be a requirement prior to you getting your certificate of occupancy. So we don't want to wait until after you want to move in and start dealing with it. And we can have an offline discussion between now and council. But I think that would be one way to honor the iconic building and also move forward. Thank you.
No problem.
Yes, Terry, thank you for bringing that up again. That was a suggestion I made, not a statement at the time, but I think it could be something really cool. Just excited to see what that ends up being. All right, ready for the city planner's recommendation?
If you are, sir, yep, I can do that.
Please, yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. With regard to PSP 20-0007, the site plan review request of DEMS Development on behalf of the owner, Losser Holdings LLC, the planning department does recommend favorable consideration of the site plan review request for the following reasons and with the following conditions. And I will just make sure that I put up a slide here that actually shows what those conditions are. Landscaping must be installed in accordance with the approved landscape plan prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, unless the season of the year does not permit the installation. In that instance, a bond must be submitted to the building department to cover the cost of the installation, and a temporary certificate of occupancy shall be given. On completion of landscaping and approval of the same by the planning department, the bond will be returned and final certificate of occupancy shall be given. Exterior lighting will be shielded to prevent spillage of glare onto adjacent properties. Photometric light plans shall be submitted for review by the planning department prior to this item going to the city council. Petitioners provide a sprinkler system for all landscape areas to encourage preservation of plant material. Petitioners execute a perpetual maintenance agreement for the landscape and parking areas both on site and in the right-of-way, which includes maintenance of any stormwater detention system. Petitioner is to implement the recommendations made by the Southfield Police Department's Crime Prevention Bureau regarding site security. The building will be constructed in accordance with the elevations shown on sheet A.2.1, A.201, A.202, A.211, and A.212 dated June 12, 2020. Approval of this site plan and/or building elevations represented herein does not constitute nor guarantee approval for signage. Separate approval and sign permits must be obtained from the building department for any proposed sign. Bike rack shall be installed in accordance with Article 4, Section 5.29, Paragraph 12. The 211-car parking lot shown on sheets 1 and 3 shall remain in its current state as landscape area until such time as the parking spaces are needed. If the 211-car parking lot shown on sheets 1 and 3 is constructed, the landscaping shown on L1 associated with that parking lot shall be installed. The site shall be designed and developed to contain public works of art in accordance with Section 5.22-5, Public Art, Article 4, General Requirements of the Zoning Ordinance, unless exempted based on written stipulations. And that concludes our presentation.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
This is Commissioner Rob Willis. I would move for favorable consideration of the PSP 20-0007.
Second.
Commissioner Dia, I'd like to second that.
Dr. Denson, was that you seconded in right away?
Yes.
Okay. Let's recognize, we've got a motion by Commissioner Willis, a second by Dr. Denson. We have a roll call vote, please.
Dr. Denson,
Yes.
Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Mr. Huntington,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Mia,
Yes.
Mr. Willis.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, you do have a unanimous vote for approval.
All right. Thank you. Best of luck with the project. Moving on. Next, we have the minutes from June 24th. Any comments? Not, may I have a motion for the minutes?
Commissioner Martin, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for the June 24th, 2020 regular meeting of the Southfield Planning Commission as presented by teleconference.
Support.
Got a motion by Commissioner Martin and seconded by Commissioner Huntington. A roll call vote, please.
Dr. Denson,
Yes.
Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Mr. Huntington,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Mia,
Yes.
Mr. Willis.
Yes.
Okay, your minutes have been approved for June 24th.
Okay. Now we have the public comment section. Call-in number is 248-796-4150.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Chairman, we actually are going through the WebEx number. So if there is any public that would like to comment, the telephone number is 1-415-655-0001. And then when you're prompted by the WebEx, the event number 129-415-4463. And then that's followed by ##, and then that will get you into the meeting. So we'll wait a few minutes here and see if we have any members of the public who would like to participate.
To the chair, while we're waiting, I have a question for Mr. Planner Crode or Spence. Do we have an idea of how? Do we have an idea how much money is being spent on the renovations that they're doing, renovations and remodeling that they're doing?
This is Planner Crode. They're spending over $600,000 just in glass replacement. There's several $100,000 in roof replacement. There's a couple $100,000 on interior, and I believe they listed somewhere, another several $100,000 for site. So that's what triggered the art requirement. They originally on their application had just put $600,000 or $700,000, but when I followed up with the building department, they had multiple permits for various things that were going on at the same time. So I'm going to say it's in the $1.5 to $2 million range.
That's a significant amount, and it will look good on the annual report.
Okay, again, I do have one calling user that I don't recognize. The telephone number 313-610. I don't know if this is someone calling in for public comment. If you are, you can identify yourself, and you have 3 minutes. And apparently, Mr. Chairman, this particular person, this particular call-in number, they don't wish to speak. So we have no other public comment at this time.
Okay, we'll close the public comment section. Any miscellaneous business?
If I may, through the chair, with regard to your August meetings, we do have we have 2 items that will be on your August agenda. We would like to have your first study meeting, however, on Wednesday, August 12th, instead of Wednesday, August 5th, with your blessing, so we can get properly prepared for the August meetings.
And Jeff, through the chair, just let them know what the 2 items are, because I was going to just briefly speak on the second item.
Yeah, so the first item is on East Street. Great Lakes Water Authority has a couple of aging tanks, and they would like to actually place 2 brand new tanks. Now, this is on East Street, just north of 8 Mile Road. They would like to put 2 brand new tanks closer to East Street. Once those are constructed along with the pump house, then the existing tanks would then be demolished. The other item is an office building on Northwestern Highway. They are proposing a rear deck on the property. It's only 630 square feet. However, because it does need a waiver of setback, it does have to go through the Planning Commission and City Council for review and approval. And so those are the 2 items that would be coming to you in August.
And this is Planet Crowd. Actually, there's 3 items. The third one is we're going to have a very preliminary discussion on the master plan update. So I wanted to mention it now so you guys can start thinking about focus areas for the master plan update. We did a pretty comprehensive overview of the master plan the last time we updated it. So this would be more of an amendment. But if there are specific topic areas that you would like us to focus on, I just would like to spend a few minutes at the end of the study session brainstorming on what topics you want us to focus. We obviously have some obligations to update the future land use and existing land use plan and update demographics, but if there are other special areas of concentration, please make some notes and be prepared to discuss it at the August meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Any other miscellaneous from the commission? Hearing none. So next meeting will be August 12th.
August
And-
12th, correct.
Okay. Sounds good. If there's nothing else, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.